Like it.
And 3, 2, 1, we're live. Hey guys, you're watching Tech Radar. I'm Basil,
Hi, I'm James.
and this is all about
The Honor 7X.
Honor 7X.
We have two.
even though it hasn't even officially been announced yet, we're that early in on everything, which is great because it means that for the December 5th launch event, we'll know exactly what to expect, except for one thing. The price.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the price at the moment, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
We wanted to know that first, really. That's one of our major... We want to know where this phone sits, really.
Yeah.
But we do have the Honor 6X pricing and a bit of Elite
import
price as well.
Yeah, so this phone, for anyone who doesn't know,
bits of
came out in
information.
China a while ago, and you can import it for around $300 US bucks.
When you say a while ago, we're talking like a couple of months ago, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It wasn't a massive time ago.
It's still new.
Yeah.
It's like the first or second phone with a new Kirin 659 processor. To run through the specs super quickly so you know where this is positioned in the grand scheme of phones of the world. You've got a roughly 6-inch screen, just shy of. It's 18 by 9. So it's the same kind of screen size and resolution as the OnePlus 5T, but in a much more affordable body. Metal design, and around the back you've got dual cameras, one 16 megapixel, one 2 megapixel sensor, fingerprint scanner around the back. It feels like more premium than a $300 phone.
It does, yeah, and I think it feels a lot more premium than the Honor 6X, which is a really big deal. The Honor 6X was a little bit rounded on the back. It sat in your hand quite comfortably, but it didn't feel anywhere near as premium as this does. Again, compared to a OnePlus 5T, it doesn't feel as premium as that, but
no, it's a nice middle ground, and it's the most like affordable way you're going to get an 18 by 9 screen. If the price is around $250-300 so pounds. We'll have to see how it's going to look in the UK. Right, we have people in the chat room. Wow. When I looked down, there were like no comments, and
Nice,
we're
guys.
just like, we're going to have to wing this one without any chats. But no. So the faithful British Unknown is here. Hello,
man.
British Unknown. Mohammed Makboul. We have Mehelbin Nilusguin. Sorry for massacring your name. But hello, thank you for being here. FIFA, Nathan Cow, Ricardo Esteves, loads of people. Just hey, everyone. Right, Bukrin. First question: is it OLED? No, it is an IPS LCD display. Very seldom you see an OLED in the kind of sub £300 region. I think the only one last year was the Lenovo P2, or earlier this year. It's one of the real anomalies that phone in a lot of respects. I know, and it's already been discontinued.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's a very good IPS display. It's very bright, and it gets down to 3 nits of brightness for when you're bedtime reading. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that did you get this as well? The auto brightness is a little bit too high.
Yeah.
So
totally
as a result, I reckon it's going to be wasting a little bit more battery than it needs to be.
I've been like manually doing it by the end of it, because I just found the auto brightness a little bit too much. But I err on the side of having it a little bit lower usually. So maybe that's just my own taste of it.
I was thinking exactly the same. So as a result, what you're going to get probably is a screen that's sufficiently bright for outdoor viewing. You might want to dip the brightness down. Let's see some of your other questions. Okay, Sajan Gupta asks, how good is the camera? We will come on to that, but if you check out the description, first off, you can see a link to the hands-on that James wrote, but you can also see a link to a whole bunch of photos that I took on this. I uploaded to a Google Photos album, so you can see the images. We're really conscious that these live shows a lot of the time end up being a lot of us talking, but we want to make sure it's as interactive as possible.
I'll get those in the actual hands-on review as soon as possible as well, so then you can watch them in there as well.
All in one place. I mean, to give you an idea as to why James hasn't done a review, we actually back and forth on this, but he's very principle-led, and I'm totally I can absolutely get behind what he's saying. So because we haven't got the price, we don't know value-wise where it sits. So even though we've both been using this for over a week, giving you a final verdict is just a little bit not right.
We want to know the exact price really for our markets, so that's the UK and the US
and Australia,
main markets in Australia. Yeah, so we want to know those prices first before we go any further on actually publishing a full review. I'm planning to put all my thoughts down in the review in the next couple of days. There's lots of other stuff going on at the moment that may take a little bit
Black Friday.
About that.
TechRadar.com Black Friday.
That's that's going to come in soon, and then we'll put a proper score on it, I think, when we know the price. But I don't think we're going to know the price
until December 5th.
Until the launch, unless we see any other leaks. But even then, we can't be certain of it, so we need to hear it from Honor's mouth first.
Exactly. But this is a great platform where we can get your questions, because there is a lot of buzz around this phone, even though it is a mid-ranger, and we can review it as you want us to review it, with your questions in mind. So let's see, what do you guys want to know? Honor 9i, Vamsi Pabinidi says, so for anyone who doesn't know, the Honor 9i was introduced in India a few months ago, and it's a very similar phone to this. It has a higher resolution front camera, same internals. It introduces 6 Kirin 659 to the market, dual camera setup, which is the same size battery, and an 18:9-inch screen. The Honor 9i doesn't have a gyroscope, weirdly. This does have a gyroscope, though neither have NFC, and both have micro USB ports. So that is where both this and the Honor 9i fall behind.
They're very subtle differences, aren't they? I don't really fully understand why there's those minor differences, but I guess maybe the gyroscope thing was
selfie camera, 16 megapixels. Maybe in India they wanted to have a push around the marketing of that. But the selfie camera on this, I posted a selfie, and they have these new modes which allow you to have Snapchat type filters, just like you can on the S8, for example. That's quite fun. So if you see the photos album in the description, you can see a photo of me with, I think I've got Minnie Mouse ears, explicitly not Mickey Mouse.
You know.
Well, no, it can't be Minnie Mouse, or else Honor has a lawsuit on their hands. I'm guessing they didn't get Disney licensing for that. Right. So you guys also want to know, is it better than the OnePlus 5T? So as an actual phone, I think we can all agree it isn't.
No.
It's not going to be better than the OnePlus 5T.
It's not. No.
But it's going to be a fair bit cheaper. So like I said, around $300 puts it at around $250, but probably when it comes to UK, between $250 and the £300 mark. And what you're going to get out of that is a much more affordable package if what you care about is that 18:9 screen and having a dual camera. And the batteries are probably going to be really similar because they're the same capacity, and you've got the same screen size, putting the similar amount of pressure on there. But what you're not going to get is a pure power under the hood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the OnePlus 5T's Snapdragon 835, so basically the top end that you can get right now. This is Huawei's own like mid-range kind of processor, so it's not going to perform anywhere near as well as OnePlus 5T. I don't think it feels as premium in hand really at all.
No. Both have headphone jacks.
Both do have headphone jacks.
Neither are water resistant.
So there are a lot of similarities in that sense, but there does feel like a few price cut differences that will make this a little bit.
Put into context how much of a difference you're going to get in terms of performance. Let me just ramp up the brightness a little bit for you guys. When it comes to benchmarking, Antutu gets you 63,558, and that's versus 163,000 that you'll be expecting from flagships. In fact, from memory, the OnePlus 5T is 180,000. So it's the GPU specifically is going to blow this out of the water. But what that really translates to is drop frames here and there, and also just not as high kind of spec rendering. You'll still be able to play most of the same games. I've been playing Injustice 2 on this, and it doesn't look as good, but it still plays.
I just downloaded the new Animal Crossing game, which came out about half an hour ago, and immediately that was working on the phone quite fine. So it was setting up really quickly. I was quite impressed with it actually. So I'm not disappointed.
There's only one time I've found that you really notice slowdown on Kirin phones, and that's when it's low battery. I don't know if you've experienced this as well, but Huawei seems to, more than any other brand, in a power saving last 15% of battery, they scale back massively the clock speed of the processors, and you end up with a really slow experience. But that's across the board, and I really felt it hard with this. But apart from that kind of specific situation, I found that the performance has been really solid, and I've got mine running with Nova Launcher over the top as well, and everyone knows that running with a launcher is going to slow down your phone a little bit. Right, back to you guys. Bro, when the OnePlus 6 launch? Patience!
Oh, come on.
Seriously.
It's only been a week.
But you can see our OnePlus 5T review that John so lovingly wrote on techradar.com. How good is the camera, Sajjan? Do you know what? Let's jump straight into that. The camera, it's a dual camera setup, 116, 2 megapixel sensor. Unlike with other Huawei and Honor phones, you can't use the second sensor.
Yeah, that sounds disappointing, doesn't it? It's a 2 megapixel camera on a phone like this.
It is, but it was the same with the Honor 6X, and the reason is that second sensor is just there for depth perception.
Exactly, yeah. So you don't have, if you were to be using an Honor 9 or something, you would have the monochrome sensor that you'd be able to use. You're not going to get that with this 2 megapixel camera. Not that you'd even want that anyway. So yeah, these two will only work together in tandem, basically. Is the idea of it. But yeah, for depth sensing, and I found it quite an interesting experience at the moment. I found it actually, I've quite enjoyed it really. I was at the beach on Sunday and was taking loads of photos with it, and everything that came out of it I was really impressed with, especially with the 18:9 display. Looking at the photos through
it looks really nice, and you can, I think you can set it so it takes 18:9 photos as well, which is really nice if you don't plan on printing your photos proper old school style. I've enjoyed it. Like I said, guys, description below, there's a link to our Google Photos album, which is probably ahead of the live shows and future Maker Gallery page for the
that's a nice idea.
Phones we end up talking about, so we can link to TechRadar. But in that you'll see light trails, slow shutter. I know I'm obsessed with it, but it's so nice to have that cool versatility in such a price, like just it's an affordable phone by comparison. And I think currently this is so Motorola's limit your max shutter speed to like 0.3 seconds or something, whereas this you can get up to a full 8 seconds. The light trail mode can take you even longer. Focus as well, manual focus. So there's one photo that you'll see in that album where I took the window where there's rain, like drops forming on the window, but the background's nice and blurry. Just that kind of stuff you really only expect to be able to get out of flagships.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's good.
Yeah, and you've also got the selfie features that you were talking about as well, with all those different kind of filters. I know that's not for everyone, but some people will find that a lot of fun.
Exactly.
And it's an added benefit, especially on a mid-range phone, really.
I think you can also apply them to the rear camera. I might be wrong. Yeah, no, you
can.
Experimenting. So live experimenting. So this is specifically the Mini Mouse. Oh, what am I doing? Rubbing the. So Tom can confirm. Has it got my face Minnie Moused up?
It does, yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah, looking great.
Yeah, and so those kinds of features are just a little bit of fun. Honor's introduced like those fun kind of turn you into a mini me in past Honor devices. This doesn't have that, but this is probably a more practical use case. Right, back to Yolk. So in short, the camera, really decent. No optical image stabilization. Video, it's electric image stabilization, keeping everything steady. It's decent in low light. In poor light, it does get a little bit grainy. Tom saw some of the videos. Tom's our video producer behind the camera, and he was like, oh, it's picking up some blues, which like it's trying to overcompensate for noise around the edges, and it does do that, and that's the telltale sign you haven't necessarily got the best sensor in here, but it is a really, really solid one. If this comes in, like I said, between the 200 to 250 to 300 pound mark, then that would be a fair asking price. If it goes anywhere below that, then it's going to be a really solid buy.
It's going to be a steal.
It'll be a steal. Right, so that hopefully, in a long-winded way, has answered your question, the British unknown. What type of camera is it? Oh, and I'm pretty sure it's f2.2. If I'm wrong, apologies, but I'm pretty sure. So price, we don't know the price. So disappointed it has micro USB. Same, actually, exactly the same. Now there's really no excuse for any sub £300 phone to have a USB micro.
And it also means that you don't get fast charging through this phone, which is a real shame. I think it's that's one of the
really slow to charge.
I find it really slow to charge. That's usually fine for me in the way I use my phone. Is
charge it every night.
I charge it every night. Same. But for most people, for some other people and everything, when the battery life isn't, it's okay on it. That's how I've found it so far.
It's just one day.
It's one day. But if you're going to be using it a lot and you're going to be using it a lot for gaming, that kind of thing, you probably want fast charging there as well, just to get it pumped up quickly. But
completely agree. Charging speed has been a bit of a letdown. So Toby Evans, micro USB is fine apparently. So Ovo.
Someone was asking if it's running Android 8. It is not. It's currently still running Android 7 software.
And not even 7.1. It's Android 7 with Emotion UI 5.
On top of it. And I think Honor said that it's going to be January at least. I don't think we're going to get Android 8 until at least the start of next year. So that might be a bit of a problem for a lot of people.
I think we might actually give British Unknown moderator status at some point.
No.
He's asking, so British Unknown, thank you for moderating the chat room. Really, really appreciate that. I'm going to live moderate the advert that someone put into the chat. Vcash asks, does it have a portrait mode? Yes, portrait mode on the front and the rear camera. It adopts the portrait feature introduced on the Huawei P10, so you can blur out the background, nice and sharp foreground.
It's nice.
Yeah, really, really good. Is the screen a bit pale? It's not as punchy. It's not as like beautiful as an AMOLED, so it is more washed out. It's going to look more pale on mine because you can have this effect called optical illusion or something when on your background. But if you look at my actual main screen, it's really nice. It's sufficiently sharp. I mean, it's not an AMOLED, and that's that. On all IPS displays, they look a little bit.
I've not been disappointed with the screen at all, though. Really, to be honest, especially when we're considering this is a mid-range phone, and it's even erring on the side of being an even cheaper phone. If our pricing rumors seem to be true, so
exactly. Lance Morial, high tech radar, hi Lance. A lot of you guys want to know about whether it's better than the OnePlus 5T.
Yeah, I guess those phones being released within a week of each other, well, being announced within a week of each other, does really G people up for this kind of thing. If you're looking to upgrade at the moment, you're going to be spending a bit more on the OnePlus 5T. That's probably the main thing to note. And it is just that little bit more premium. It's got, I would say, a sufficiently better camera than the Honor 6X, but you are paying...
7X.
Sorry, 7X.
But we don't. It is a better camera, but there is no optical image stabilization, and you don't have. I don't think you have the flexibility with the portrait modes. What I'm saying, the OnePlus will probably be a better point and shoot camera. But if you're prepared to play with it, you can probably eke out just as good photos a lot of the time. Especially around the things like the long exposures and stuff. I'm just super impressed that at this price point, Honor's managed to hit this. So we have a please take my name, or please shout out Siddharth Kanawat. So shout out to Siddharth. The British Unknown really hopes Sony goes 18:9 next year. Sony's like one of those brands that we love, but we're finding it harder and harder to just get behind because everyone's stepping up to the plate so aggressively with their 18:9 cost-effective devices, and Sony is still not nailing it just yet.
They've got to do it in the next 12 months, though, in my opinion.
I'd say in the next 3, by Mobile World Congress, Sony needs to have an 18:9 that sings and dances like stereo speakers, everything that people want from Sony.
Imagine if the XZ Premium 2, which probably come around at MWC, it'd be a year since it gets a premium by that point.
4K 18:9.
4K 18:9.
That would be what they need.
That would steal the show, I think, in all honesty, because we're probably not going to see the Samsung Galaxy S9 launch there as well. So there's not as much competition as there have been in previous years, back from 2016 before then. So I think Sony could really steal the show with that. Whether that will happen, though, we've seen the same design phone come from Sony for the last 5 years or so. So maybe, fingers crossed. They must have been doing something behind the scenes.
So we've got a couple of Lance Morial, what's the chipset? So we've already said it's a Kirin 659 processor, and to recap, that Antutu benchmarks at around just over 6,000. To recap all the specs that we haven't touched on, what's also incredibly impressive about this, 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of storage is standard. There are variants floating around the world that are going to have 32 gigs, but in the UK we're only going to be getting a 64 gig variant, which is excellent again for this positioning. Like pretty class leading actually. 6-inch full HD display, but wide full HD, micro USB, single mono speaker as well, so it's pretty easy to cover up, and it isn't the loudest around, but you do have a headphone jack. Definitely. So it's a dual SIM card slot, so you can have either 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM card, 1 micro SD card, and the fingerprint scanner around the back also supports gestures, so you can do things like pull down your notifications tray with it. So the processor, everything like that's cool. A 3,340 milliamp battery under the hood as well. So Yeah, I think it's a really solid spec sheet for a mid-ranger, and the icing on the cake are those dual cameras and that 18:9 display. And I mean, you can't forget the design. I've already, when I was photographing this earlier this week, dropped it. I didn't drop it, the wind dropped it. I had it like balanced against something so I could get one of those really nice like blurry background shots of it standing up, and it was quite windy, and it's chipped, and it doesn't, like, it's not colored through, it's not iodized, so ionized, there you go. Iodine. It's not iodine, so it does chip silver, and we've got the blue one, but we wouldn't really expect anything else in this price point.
And the main colors you can get are, the blue is basically the main one that they're toting around the world, and there's also a black one in Western markets, and then I think it's a China exclusive for this really nice gold version that they've got, but I don't think you're going to get that outside of China. It may be that they goes to other Eastern markets, but we're going to have to wait and see for
that. So British Unknown, to be honest, I've started to embrace the no headphone jack trend, as I only really use Bluetooth headphones now mainly. I'm generally the same. The main reason I pull my cable out to actually connect my headphones to anything is when I'm editing video and I need to do it to the computer. But for actual phone usage, 99% of the time, Bluetooth suffices.
I'm pretty much the same now as well. But whenever I do get a phone with a headphone jack, I do like to switch back to using a wire pair of headphones as well, just to test it out and make sure that make sure it's all fine.
Totally fair. Toby Evans, Google Pixel 2 XL or this? That's an interesting one, and it's a no-brainer, but it's not a no-brainer.
You're going to be spending a lot more money on the Pixel 2 XL. It is a nicer experience.
You can probably get 2.5 of these at the very least.
Depending on what this actually comes
it ends up costing. But I mean, it's a good stopgap until like, some people own the Pixel 2 XL for long enough to know like just how bad the screen burn-in issues are, and stuff like that. The camera's not going to be as good, but as you'll see if you clicked on the link below in the description to the photos album, which has some samples taken on here, you can actually get some stunning shots that could rival those taken on the Google Pixel 2 XL, in the sense that that doesn't have manual mode on it. So if you are someone who likes to play with your photos and you're not sure about the Pixel XL, all of the stuff around the screen is putting you off, it's a good stopgap.
Yeah, definitely.
So Honor water resistant, no water resistance on here, and
doesn't seem to be something that Honor's really that interested in at the moment. We did see the Huawei Mate 10 Pro, which was waterproof, so maybe that's something that start filtering down to Huawei and Honor products in the next few months, maybe the next 6 months or so. Maybe the Honor 10.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see.
We will.
But mid-range phone at the moment, probably not. That could be the main focus. So British Unknown again. If the sub £300 phone can have an 18:9 display, then there's no excuses for £500 phones plus not to. I assume you're talking about Sony. Yeah, when we're talking about Sony. Yeah, I totally agree. That's exactly why they need to step up MWC this year.
Definitely. So what are your price predictions? Because I'm really interested in this phone, and I'm wondering whether to buy the 7X or P10 Lite. I'd go for a 7X over a P10 Lite. Yep. Without a doubt. So the price predictions, like I said, on AliExpress on import from China, it's $300. The Honor 6X launched at £249. So gauging by that, it will be probably between the £250 to the £300 price range. But if it comes in less than that, if it's under that, it'll probably be a 8.5 to 9 out of 10.
I'm quietly confident that it'll be around the 250 mark. I think that's where I really want this to be. I hope it's not touching too much on the 300.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I would definitely go for this over a P10 Lite at this stage, mainly because of that 18:9 screen. I've grown to really like it. You get more screen with less bezel, and I'm a fan of rear fingerprint scanners, generally speaking. So that one was from IC3TIM3. So cheers for that. British Unknown, more comments, happy to help. Amazing. So he's actually even answering some questions that we're not getting to. I think you should do a comparison with HTC U11 Life and this. The HTC U11 Life looks like a really good phone, but it looks like it's going to be at £349. Also 64 gigs of storage, also a full HD screen, but not that 18:9, but it does have that squeezy tech.
It looks a little bit more boring though. It
does look more boring. Single rear camera, although it is IP67 water and dust resistant, no headphone jack. They're sufficiently different, but sufficiently similar potentially. But like I said, if this comes in at under 300, this might be the better for money better value for money option. Words, Basil. Use your words.
It's the end of a long week. Oh wait, no, it's Tuesday.
I got really excited there. I was like,
sorry. That's okay. We're both in the same place, I think.
Yeah, right. So Type-C charging or traditional? It is a micro USB port. And guys, I think that is the majority of your questions. So thank you for being so active in this chat room.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I'm quickly going to wrap up in a nutshell. So design, massive thumbs up. Any glaring issues you see with it?
As I say, it doesn't feel as premium as any of the flagships right now, but you shouldn't expect that at this price point at the moment. It just does feel, it feels good. It feels good in the hand. It's a good size because you've got a 18:9 screen. It doesn't feel too large. I've really enjoyed using it.
I'd say design wise, even visually, the micro USB isn't as pretty as a USB Type-C. But otherwise, aside from that, in the bottom mono speaker, good. Screen, good. Like solid kind of 8 out of 10 screen.
18:9 at this price is just kind of unheard of in all honesty, so that's a really big thumbs up.
User interface is where I think it drops the ball the most, because it's Android 7 with Emotion UI 5 as opposed to Android 8 with Emotion UI 8. Huawei skipped a couple of numbers there. They didn't just like bypass to it yet, so it's a really random one. But the fact you've got the older version of Android isn't going to affect you if all you do is casually install applications. But if you're really concerned about security updates, and also a few features that Emotion UI has, which are like, I guess, a little bit buggy, so showcasing notifications in a less attractive way, that's where you're going to be behind on this.
And we'll note again that Android 8 is coming to this phone. Honor have already confirmed that. It's just when that's actually going to happen. It's going to at least be 2018, so at some point then we'd hope January kind of time. But we don't know. But we don't know. Anytime next year.
Exactly. But on the plus, the Honor 6X has Android 8 on beta as a part of their beta program. So
it's a lot at the moment, aren't we? Like the OnePlus 3 and the OnePlus 3T now have Android Oreo, but the OnePlus 5T just launched with Android 7. What is that? Well, 7.1 I think, but still not Android Oreo. So it's a bit of a we're getting that a lot at the moment.
But what it does show is that OnePlus and Honor are committed to giving updates to the older devices potentially. So maybe you can buy this with a bit more confidence than you could have bought an older Honor or Huawei device, because Huawei used to be freaking terrible at that kind of stuff. So the power under the hood isn't mind-blowing by any means, but didn't find day-to-day use it slowed down. Gaming, solid again, but not mind-blowing. But what you'll really benefit from is the additional storage you'll get in here, 64 gigabytes and expandability as well. The Kirin 659 processor paired with 4 gigabytes of RAM, comfortable for multitasking, and the aspect ratio of the screen really good for split screen multitasking too. Battery life?
Nailed it. Yeah, battery life is kind of average, really. Getting a full day out of it, personally, I think you were getting a similar amount. You're not going to get anything over that, though. You don't expect an absolute powerhouse of a phone here, really, in terms of battery.
Definitely not. And connections are really good, save for the lack of NFC.
Yeah, that is a real big disappointment. It does feel like something that's really missing from there. Actually, I completely forgot about that the entire time we were talking about this. That is probably the one really bad missing feature,
because I use Android Pay on pretty much every review device that I get. It's also really nice, just one touch pairing.
Exactly.
With Bluetooth devices. But otherwise, this is a really solid phone that feels kind of more like a flagship than I really thought it would.
Yeah, and it comes down to the price, though. As we say, we think it's going to be around £250. Maybe nearing the £300 mark, so we're talking $250, $300 mark.
Exactly. And it'll come down to your region as well.
Exactly.
So check with your local supplier. 3 has habitually ranged Honor here in the UK, so 3 will probably be the primary one. Amazon as well, but that will dictate whether or not it is a worthy phone.
And everything will be clear on December 5th is basically when the big launch is happening. So we have everything covered then, and we definitely know the price for at least the US and the UK by then, hopefully Australia as well if it's coming there as well.
Exactly. And just wrapping up one last time, I've said it a few times already, if you want to know more about the camera in terms of get some samples, in the link in the description below.
In that description.
Photos.google.com/numbers is where you'll see all of that stuff. Made a Google photo album for it. It is a 16 megapixel and 2 megapixel dual camera combination, no optical image stabilization. And hopefully that has answered the majority of your questions. Also, you've probably seen on YouTube, we've done a few videos around Black Friday in the US and the UK. We've got Black Friday coming up this week. We're working.
What day is it?
I don't know.
Okay,
I think it's on Sunday because I'm going to be working on it on Sunday.
Yeah, that's true.
We've like not me, but James and all the other typing guys have been
typing guys.
Yeah, making amazingness happen on the site, getting the best.
There's been some big deals in the next couple of days. So
most up-to-date deals in the world. And when one goes down, another one comes up. And these guys are the ones that are going to be getting them on techradar.com/Black Friday. And if you've missed Black Friday and you're watching this afterwards, /Cyber Monday. And if you've missed all of that, check back next year.
There we go.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you guys have been so good. Really appreciate how active you've been. Any questions we missed, fire them in the comments section and the British Unknown will answer them.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.